Hi Year 3 and welcome to today's maths video. Today's maths video is for Tuesday the 19th of January and Wednesday the 20th of January because both days the activities are to do with measuring maths. So this video is to support measuring maths, so if you've had any problems or found anything tricky, hopefully this will help you. So the first task you had to do for measuring maths was all to do with a 1 kilogram weight. It told you to hold a 1 kilogram weight in your hand. Now, like me, you probably haven't got many 1 kilogram weighing scale weights hanging around in your house. So I had to dig around. Now, I found one of these that is a kilogram. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, it's actually quite empty, so it doesn't actually weigh a kilogram, but you might have something like a bag of flour or a bag of sugar which weighs a kilogram. I also found I had a big thing of cooking batter, which again weighs, if I hold up the right way for you, a kilogram. So you don't have to have a fancy weight, you can find something in your house that you know weighs a kilogram. So it tells you to hold the 1 kilogram weight in your hand. It then tells you to hold a pear, an apple or any other piece of fruit that you have in your hand as well. So I am holding both of these objects in my hand and it says which is heavier, the 1 kilogram weight, my weight, or the piece of fruit. Now hopefully you can feel the difference and take time in during your maths lesson today to feel lots of different objects and feel which one is heavier and which one is lighter. So I can quite confidently say that this pear weighs less than a kilogram without weighing it because it feels lighter than my kilogram weight. It tells you to put the fruit down and to pick up your school bag and to decide again which is heavier. Now it might be worth filling your school bag up as if you were going to pretend to actually go to school, put a water bottle in it and stuff like that, because then it will be quite heavy and it will be interesting for you to feel which one feels heavier and whether you can decide whether your school bag is heavier or lighter than your 1 kilogram. So when we're writing kilogram, we write it as kg. And you will see this written after your number. Now we don't call that kg. Kg stands for a kilogram and we always read it as a kilogram. So if we had this written down, we wouldn't say 3 kg, we would say 3 kilograms. But we use this as an abbreviation in maths because it's a lot quicker than writing the word. So once you've had to play around with some different objects and felt which one's heavier and lighter, it will move on to looking at a scale. Now, your picture on your PowerPoint says what is the mass of the bag of flour, and your scale is pointing to the 1. Now, can you see I've got a 1 there and a 1 there, and it's really important if you've got a set of scales at home that you look carefully at what you're looking at. So around the inside, my scale is actually measuring pounds. So if I go to there, I've got 1 pound. Around the outside, my scale is measuring kilograms. So I know if my needle has gone all the way to there, then the mass of the object is a kilogram. So be really careful if you have a set of scales at home to look closely. So what is the mass of the bag of flour in the picture? Well, the needle is pointing to something labelled as 1. And on the scale on the picture, like my scale here, it has got kg and kg written around the outside, or at least in the middle. It tells you that 1 full circle is 4 kilograms. So if the needle's pointing to the 1, that tells us that that bag of flour is as heavy as 1 kilogram. That bag of flour would have the same weight as your 1 kilogram weight. So because we know that it is weighing as 1 kilogram, its mass is 1 kilogram. It's as heavy as 1 kilogram. So question 3, what can you say about the mass of the bag of tissues? Now the bag of tissues, the needle has gone to there. Now is that as much as a kilogram, more than a kilogram, or less than a kilogram? Now we know that the mass of the box of tissues is less than a kilogram because it's not the same as a kilogram. It hasn't made it to 1 kilogram, but it's not more, it's not this side. Anything this side of the 1 kilogram means less than 1 kilogram. So by looking at those scales, because it hasn't made it to the 1 kilogram marker, we can say that the mass of the box of tissues is less than 1 kilogram. Then there's a box of cereal, and it says, what can you say about the mass of a box of cereal? Now, the mass for the box of cereal has a needle that looks similar to this. Now that means that it is over 1 kilogram, that it is more than 1 kilogram, because anything this side would be less than a kilogram. Lining up exactly would be the same as a kilogram, and anything further is more. So if you look at the needle on picture number 4, the needle is after the number 1. So that means the mass of the box of cereals is more than 1 kilogram. So then I've given you a little activity. The activity is to pick up objects in your house, estimate, that means to guess whether they are less than a kilogram, or more than a kilogram. So what you do is you pick up your item. For example, I've said to use a full bottle of water and feel it. If you want to, you can feel it alongside your object you know has a mass of a kilogram, or you can have a go at estimating just by feeling it. So you feel your object. Do you think it is less than a kilogram, exactly a kilogram, or more than? You put a tick in the box, and then you weigh it. You use some scales to weigh the object to find its mass. And when you found its mass, you tick the box to say whether it was less than a kilogram, exactly a kilogram, or more. And hopefully that will give you a really good idea of what it feels like and how to judge weight. I'm not looking for you to get it exactly right. I just want you to have a feel about more and less and the same as a kilogram. I hope that makes sense. And in a minute, I will go on to explain the rest of the learning for this unit, which is Wednesday's maths lesson. So I hope you got on okay with the activities for Tuesday. This part of the video is going to look at the activities for Wednesday, which is part of the practice book. So let's have a look together. I would always like you to have a go at attempting these independently and use these videos if you're struggling at all. I don't want anybody to struggle, but a lot of this you should be able to have a go at independently. So please do have a try before you watch the rest of my video, which will give you the answers. So let's have a look. We are on Unit 9 for Maths. So it says, measuring in kilograms. Fill in the spaces with the words below: more than, less than, as heavy as, parcel, cake and pear. So if you look at this scale carefully, this is the needle. And when you put an object on top of the scales, you'll be able to measure its mass by how far the needle moves. And if you watch me push down on my scale, you can see the needle moving round. So when you want to weigh an object, when you want to find its mass, you sit the object on top and you watch for where the needle goes. And here I can see I'm measuring in kilograms and my needle has moved from 0 to 1. So I can say that the cake is as heavy as 1 kilogram because it is the same as 1 kilogram. Now this is a slightly different set of scales. You probably don't have these at home. I doubt many of you have actually got one of these. You've probably got an electric one. However, these you use weights to see if you can balance the scale. And if you can get the scale to balance, it means the objects have the same mass. So if these two objects were in line with each other, they would have the same mass. Think of it like a seesaw. Now, when you ride a seesaw at the playground, if you're the heavier person, you bump down to the bottom, don't you? So if you look here, we know that 1 kilogram is heavier than the mass of this pear because the pear is the one up in the air and the kilogram weight, is the one that's falling down. So finish the sentence. The mass of this pear is, now we know it is less than 1 kilogram because the 1 kilogram weight is heavier. Then if we look at this one. Now here, look carefully. I haven't quite made it to 2 kilograms, but I am more than 1 kilogram. So the mass of the parcel is more than 1 kilogram. So here we have one that is the same as, it's as heavy as a kilogram. Here the mass of the pear is less than a kilogram, and here the mass of the parcel is more than 1 kilogram. So have a think about which object is the lightest and which is the heaviest. So if we look at our scales, I know that the pear is the lightest because it was less than a kilogram. I also know that the parcel was the heaviest because it was more than 1 kilogram. So hopefully you were able to put those answers in there yourself. Let's carry on. Read the scales and fill in the mass. So our bag of flour up here has caused our scale to move, and our scale has moved all the way round to there. Now that tells us that the mass of the flour is the same as a 2 kilogram weight. If they were on those balancing scales, 2 kilogram weight one side and that bag of flour the other side would have it balancing perfectly. And again, if you look here, you've got 1, 2, so all of that information means that the mass of this flour is 2 kilograms. If we look at B, now this time a whole way round, a whole loop, a whole circle of our scale would be 10 kilograms, and that's always really important that you look carefully, because if we look here, we know that from 0 all the way round takes us to 4, but from 0 all the way round this time takes us to 10. Now we've got some of our numbers missing here, but if you can look carefully you can see that my numbers are going up in 2s. So that means that number there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that means that this mystery box here has the same mass as 7 kilograms. So the mass of that parcel is 7 kilograms. Then I think this is a watermelon. So let's have a look at what its mass would be. Now this time our scale goes from 0 all the way round to 6. But what's different to our 10 kilogram scale up here is all of our numbers are marked on. So the intervals in between are not 1, 2, 3, 4 like they were up here. Our intervals in between are halfway between 0 and 1 kilogram. That tells us that our interval here is half a kilogram. We've got no kilograms, half a kilogram, 1 kilogram, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, and all the way round. So if we look at the mass of this object, we know that it is 4 kilograms because the needle has moved all the way around to the 4. Lastly, if we look at this one, we know that our bag of rice is being measured on a scale that from 0 all the way around is 10 kilograms. Again, some of our numbers are missing. Now, because the first number marked is 2, we know that this number would be 1. So it's still going around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's pointing at an 8. So we know that our bag of rice has a mass that is the same as 8 kilograms. So it'd be 8 kilograms. Well done if you got those right.